This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Rock and Roll Denim, Bill Fick Ford, the WCRA, and Resistol. Bill Fick Ford, the #1 Super Duty dealer in the entire country, is still taking care of their customers. It's hard to get trucks right now, but there's some perks when you're the #1 Super Duty dealer in the country. You still got trucks. Go to BillFickFordHuntsville.com to get the no bull discounts that no one else is giving during this crazy time that we're living in. Bill Fick Ford is still the place to go. In fact, if you ask me, it's the only place to get a new Super Duty dealer today. Bill Fick Ford. The Women's Rodeo World Championship is the largest purse in the history of women's rodeo, paying out a total of $750,000. The event will take place October 26th through the 29th in Las Vegas at the South Point Arena. Each Women's Rodeo World Champion will take home a minimum of $60,000 each, while the all-around champion will collect a minimum of $20,000. The championship event dishes out equal money in all disciplines. This is your chance at a piece of that $750,000 purse. Earn your position on the leaderboard by nominating your team roping, breakaway, and barrel racing runs with the WCRA. Visit Women'sRodeoWorldChampionship.com to learn more on how to qualify for the richest event in history of women's rodeo. Again, that's Women'sRodeoWorldChampionship.com.
What sets Resistol apart is the legacy of the cowboys who wear the brand. These traditions are passed down from fathers to sons, from heroes to future champions. Since 1927, Resistol has been handcrafting the finest American-made cowboy hats. Generation after generation, we live it every day.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradu.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, I have got my counterpart in many, many ways, my business partner, Dustin Pointer. This is Team 12 Gauge talking all kinds of shit. So, first and foremost, it's a very passionate discussion filled with ideas and things that have been seen in the industry, and Dustin is a very good observer and very intelligent businessman, and I think anytime we have somebody on who's so wildly successful that is chosen to be in this industry for no other reason than the fact that they want to be in it, I think it's important to listen to them. Agree, disagree, cheer, hate, send a death threat, that's on you, but at least hear out the things that we're saying. It's just a concept. We're just talking, and, you know, we love rodeo, just like I'm assuming you do if you're listening to this show. So check it out.
When do you start recording, Ty?
5.5 minutes ago, Princess.
No.
Fact.
That's not how we do that.
That's how we do it.
A minute 30 ago.
A minute 38. I would have liked to have been able to.
Thanks.
I'm parched. And you.
Wait, why are you part? You've got a delicious Dr. Pepper right there.
God. Why do you guys. I am never going to have you make a drink again. That's horrible. Last time you did that, I want to be on my A game.
There's no game.
A game.
And I seem to remember the last time I let you mix a drink, you were mixing like 350 to 400 milligrams of caffeine with Tito's and saying, hey, here's the healthy drink.
I never said it was
Drank
healthy.
about 6 of them.
I just
You guys
said it kept
this
you
is a
up.
great solution to not have a hangover. And your guys' solution to not having a hangover is the fact that you guys were mainlining caffeine into nearly underage children.
I've got so many words coming at me right now. I thought this was focused just me and you.
Well, did you really think that?
Well,
Because if you really thought that, the blonde lady who birthed me wouldn't be in the room.
The blonde bombshell over there is talking.
I'm just saying.
Ty
She was
and-
like, I can't believe it, but he's my son, but I got to get a photo with him. It's not going to get another chance.
Why'd you take sunglasses
I
off?
wanted to make sure I could see what finger she was holding up.
That she's got these little midget digit fingers.
Well,
See her?
apparently someone's paying to get those nails done on a regular basis.
Are you really recording, Ty?
I am.
That's kind of. Ty's looking very Where's Waldish today.
Where's Waldish?
Where's Waldo?
Yeah, he's the first guy I've seen match his beanie to his shirt to his shoes. You know the whole adage is you match your belt to your shoes. You don't match your beanie to your shoes.
So is that how this is going to go? We're just going to pick on Ty today.
No, Ty
That's how
actually
it goes every episode.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it goes majority of episodes.
Hey,
No, it isn't.
Chatty Cathy's. I know that. Hey, we're freaking recording over here. Do you not see the on-air sign?
So hold on just a second before you jump down there, shit. You're the one who opted out of the headphones.
Who does that? Clinton Anderson didn't have headphones on?
Clinton Anderson...
He's a bigger star than me, I know.
No. Clinton Anderson came in here with 3/4 of a freaking bottle of Captain Morgan gone. He had no idea what was going on.
I think you poured 3/4 of a bottle of Captain Morgan in this.
That's not true. It's half Captain Morgan, half TX whiskey.
Well, I'm about to die.
Well, there's a little Patron in there.
I got no more taste buds.
Well, neither do I, but that was because of COVID. All right, so here's the deal.
All right, talk to me.
We sat around and debated whether or not we were going to have an episode. I like to call it a family reunion because for the last 2 days, we've been sitting at this very same table without cameras rolling, discussing the nuances of business and what's the future for the Gauge podcast, talking about our endorsements and, you know, the sponsorships and how everything's gone so great from that standpoint, right?
Touché.
Thank you to everyone who's listening to this, all 6 of you who were watching on repeat to make it seem like there's a lot of you.
Touché.
But
It's a lot of repeats.
it is, but we have some dedicated fans.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
Yeah, and I don't know much about managing money, but I know enough. If you throw a few dollar bills at someone, they'll just sit there and watch the YouTube over.
Touche.
Anyway, that's the secret. If you guys want to learn how to do this, pay one crazy lady to just watch your shit all day, every day.
Ironically, we have a lot of crazy ladies that
Are
watch
in
our
this
show.
room?
Yeah, they're
Sorry, I
here.
didn't know where you were going to go with that. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. So we've been kind of boardrooming for the last 2.5 days.
Yep.
Figuring out everything we want for the future, what we're going to do, the state of the industry that we're in, how we're going to capitalize on the new state of the industry. And I think it's really important that you being in the industry and kind of, you fly under the radar a lot, but you observe what's going on, which I think is a really wise thing to do. There's people who are up in front, got to tell you what they know, how they know it, why they know it. And then there's the people who are smart, who observe from the background and take in what's going on, which is why we had our meetings, because we're changing our directive on the 12-gauge ranch side. Very smart to do so, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's going on in the industry.
You're talking, there's a lot that you're saying and a lot to cover. One, yeah, you never want to be the loudest person in the room. You always want to sit back and listen to what's going on. And as we've talked about for 2 days, I don't know if people are paying attention to what the industry is doing. I will tell you, you know, COVID over the past 2 years has made freaking people wackadoodle. I will tell you, believe it or not, you know, Taylor Sheridan and what he's done with Yellowstone and what that's done to the world and the way they look at the Western lifestyle. You know, everybody's wearing a damn cowboy hat now, and everybody wants to be a cowboy because of Yellowstone, which is great. It has been phenomenal for the industry. But as far as me goes and 12-gauge ranch, you and what we're doing, we've always wanted to get the stories of the, you know, the Western world out into the public. And that was part of the thing that 12-gauge ranch did. And when you and I sat down a couple of years ago and said, hey, let's do a podcast, you know, to get those stories out there, never in a million years would I thought the gauge blew up and would blow up so quick the way it has. I mean, and the sponsors are being so supportive now, what have you, and I think that just goes to show the excitement of the Western world. But as far as the athletes go, you know, our purpose, my goal to get a spotlight on the industries is not changed. But I don't want the athlete to forget what their jobs are as well, you know. Can't just sit back. It can't just be the other people fighting the battles that you want won. If you, you know, if you want recognition, if you want spotlight on the industry, you got to be sitting there fighting for it too. You know, let's call a spade a spade. I'm a little pissed, okay? I'm a little frustrated. I don't know if we want to go down this road.
We're already on this road,
well,
bitch. Let's go.
You know, I mean, it's getting freaking ridiculous, you know? If you're an athlete and you're involved in rodeo and you're doing that as your lifestyle and as your profession, then you have a freaking obligation to get out there and do your part in getting recognition to the industry. You know, you have sponsors that are freaking giving you checks and you know, hoping that you're promoting yourself and promoting their brands and what have you. And if you're just sitting back and collecting those checks, well, you know, to hell with you. You have an obligation to you know, to support your brand and to do what your brand asks you to do. I mean, I'm all about, you want to go out and just win, God bless you. Okay, but if you have sponsors out there giving you monies and want you to promote their brand as well, I think you have an obligation to represent yourself in a professional matter, or you know, a professional a way, and promote them as well. I mean, do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody outside of the people who compete in rodeo, because there's two sides to every coin, right? The one thing we all know, if we have rodeoed or know people who rodeo, or your family rodeos, or fuck your friends rodeo, whatever, is that it's a tough way to make a living.
Heck yeah.
Fact. It is very hard to go down the road, maintain your sanity, maintain your budget, do all the things that you have to do to compete at a high level in rodeo. God forbid, you know, you don't make the national finals rodeo, you're hosed. But if you do, you're waiting until December 2nd to make your real money. And so it's tough. But here's the issue, at least what I see, right? Because you always have to look at things from two sides. Now, you can't do that when you're the guy writing the checks, right?
Right.
If you're the name the sponsor, it doesn't even have to be 12 Gauge Ranch. God knows there's 100 others, right? Who they put their marketing dollars into patches and rodeo athletes. So at the very least, if you're going to cash a check, right? You and I come from a business world too. A totally different thing that's going on in our day to day. You took a whole year off almost from what we were doing business-wise. You had no choice because of the state of the world and what you had to do with your other company, which is what actually started the whole thing for you personally, right? You've got 25 years of experience in an industry that has not dick to do with rodeo.
Right.
And everything in the business world is A-B transactions. And you want to talk about bloodbath? Come play in that arena for a little bit. But those businesses, those types of operations are far more established than the thing that's going on between a sponsor and an athlete. Because the athlete for rodeo, it's been an athlete for like 6 or 7 years. Before that, it was just cowboy.
Well, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to choose to become a professional rodeo athlete, and you're going to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do to pay my bills. Well, then you have to sit down just like any business and say, okay, one, you pray and hope that God's given you the talent to succeed well enough to win a check, you know, and that check's got to be big enough to cover the hauling the horses from point A to point B, to have the horse, to feed the horse, to pay the gas to get down the road. You know, God bless anybody that wants to become a professional rodeo athlete for a living and pay the bills. Then you have to sit down and say, okay, well, let's hope that I'm talented enough that I can get some sponsors to help me get down the road. Okay, well, if you're talented enough to do that, or there are sponsors out there that just say, hey, I want to get as much patch exposure I can, so here, throw a patch on, we'll give you some product to help you get down the road. That's great too. But if you're at the next level, and it's funny, what I've witnessed over the past 4 or 5 years with athletes, something has changed in the industry. Maybe it's the COVID, maybe it's the fan base, maybe, I don't know. But the one thing that always drew me to the Western lifestyle were the attitudes of the athletes and what have you. You know, we've got some athletes that are going down direction like, well, I've become a household name. And I'm like, careful, let's keep it humble. Because I guarantee you walk down the airport, but maybe 1 out of a million know who the hell you are. Okay, so let's keep it humble. It's getting too rough, aren't we?
No, it is not.
But
hold on. Let me stop you right there. You're going somewhere that's great, and I just got a bloody nose.
It is.
Do me a favor, grab me a tissue. It's the air.
It's not the air. I'm stressing you out. We're talking too real.
No, you ever seen those Japanese cartoons where a hot girl walks by and the nose busts?
Are you saying I'm hot?
You're the hot girl in this scenario.
What it is?
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I don't know what I had go on, but I've been getting a bloody nose like every day for like a week.
Oh, it's probably that. Well, we won't go there. I know what it is, Chance.
Well, it's the only way I could handle being in a room with you guys for 48 hours.
I know, right?
Anyway, so everything you're saying I agree with and is true. Just keep the camera off me, Ty, if you can. during all this. It was a little awkward.
Well, it's just going to be on Dustin the whole time then.
Yeah, right. Hey, how you doing?
Well, age before beauty.
Do you
Right.
want to take a pause? We can pause.
No, we can't.
Yes, we can. We're going to pause. Everything you're saying, by the way, I'm sorry about the pause, guys, but I got a white shirt on and a suede jacket, and I'm not trying to fuck all that up.
Well, that's
Ask
what
me in 30 minutes.
I'm saying. Do we wait 5 more minutes?
No, let's go. It's not hurting me. I don't care.
No. Like I
So
said,
I took a bullet
hold
for
on.
I took a bullet
are
for this show at the very beginning by sitting on this side of the fucking table with my bad side.
well, listen. We're really going to record with that damn thing hanging out your nose?
Is it distracting you?
Well, I will tell you, you're not. Before you left,
Yeah.
I was getting pissed off.
About?
Well, we were talking passionately.
Pull that microphone closer to your mouth.
We were.
Chance.
Sorry, I don't know where my mouth stops and
Yeah,
my tissue
we can't
begins.
see it from the camera.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. This is what I get for saying, hey, let's rebrand 12 gauge. I get punched in the fucking
I was
mouth.
going to say, you're not the first man that's ever got a bloody nose when I start getting pissed off. Sorry. I'm just kidding. That sounded cocky.
You said it right. You first man.
Well, you're not the first man.
A few ex-wives who might disagree on the man part.
Well, they've made me way more than you, trust me.
they definitely do.
I'm so proud of you trying to drink your whiskey with a Kleenex hanging out your nose.
You know, it's so funny. The things that I get ridiculed from you about are drinking straight black coffee and straight whiskey.
Don't
As
get
if there's
me
something wrong
started
with
on
that.
this stupid coffee thing with your
Oh.
guys' stupid freaking Starbucks. Come on, I want to lay a mocha grande
Here
with
we
a
go
splash
again.
of whip and douche and be a damn man.
Everybody in this room has got me coffee, and it's black coffee with sugar.
How do you order it? What size? Venti?
Grande, bitch.
Grande. That is
Large.
the stupidest thing. We're in America. It's a large coffee.
Well, you were in Mexico last week quarantined, and I'm sure they were talking about Grande Quarantina.
Well, I
with
assure you, I never said Venti mocha splash of whip and douche with a
Hey,
side. That's
I'm not
so
gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue with you. It doesn't make sense. They've got a tall, a grande, and a venti. Tall means large. Grande means large. Venti means 20. It doesn't make fucking sense.
Got
I
a
know.
17-year-old daughter that will go to work and work for an hour to pay for a damn cup of coffee. Stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
You know, I would agree with you, but you're actually paying $4.50 for your hot chocolate while I'm getting my $3 coffee at the
listen.
same place.
Priorities.
They charge for the extra whip, pumpkin.
Priorities. Go back to what the hell we were talking about.
Well, it's been real hard to focus with all the fucking abuse going on in here. I'm the one sitting here with the bloody nose.
Okay, so we were talking about athletes saying, now that I've become household names, and I'm like, keep it humble. You could walk through a damn airport, and 1 out of a million people would even know who the hell you are.
Hey, well, I was proud of my endorsement deal saying I think I'm a household name, and you popped me in the nose.
Well, let the record show we are a top 1% podcast. You know that?
No, I don't. I don't know.
We are. In the world.
Yeah, and just in terms of the amount of listens that we get after a 7-day period,
Hey,
amongst all podcasts.
I pay for the chart thing, and we hit a top 50 in the entire world for society and culture.
I don't know where. I need to remind myself. I forgot where it was, but yes, we did.
Apple. We hit.
Well, I'm not sure what country. That's
our
what I'm
top,
saying.
the United States.
Well, and again,
Our top position in the United States in society and culture, 39. Our top position in outdoor and wilderness, 7 in the United States. Those are our all-time highs. I pay for Chartable. You don't.
Well, give me the login.
I'll have to find
it's
it. But
funny.
It's really nice to see.
funny 12 gauge orders and different things like that. We get more orders shipped to Australia.
I know we've I want to say our third biggest country in terms of listens and views is from Australia.
It's
By a
crazy
lot.
thing.
We've had a lot of Aussies on the show,
That's
actually.
true. That's true. God, yeah, that's true.
So we were getting pretty heavy about, what was it again?
Our athletes, the world, the rodeo athlete,
Yeah.
the humbleness.
It's my favorite kind of athlete, so I will preface it with that.
So, I think they have a responsibility, and I think they forget that responsibility sometimes. Listen, if you are talented enough to like I said, tackle and go on the road and become a professional athlete, that in itself deserves some recognition. You've set yourself apart. If you are making a living by rodeoing, that's impressive. I mean, there's only a few percentage of people that can do it, okay? I think we all need to remember there's only a few percentage of people that want to do it. But if you're getting paid to and making a living doing what you passionately love to do, man, that is awesome. But I think you have to remember, and I say that, again, I have huge respect for people that can do that and get that done. But I just think that if, the biggest complaint that I heard from athletes and that I continue to hear from athletes is, we want to be treated, like, football players, baseball players, do you know how hard we work? We travel from here or there, all, and they're not lying. But on the other hand, these football players, baseball players, they have unions, they have responsibilities, they have signings, different things they have to do. Furthermore, they have promotional things, and they have to govern themselves accordingly to make sure they get their endorsements and do different things. I mean, heck, it was just the other week, some freaking NFL star, walked off the field, jumping up and down, saying adios, and kicked off the team. I mean, he's no longer represented by that team. I mean, if we have athletes that are sponsored.
Who was it, Ty?
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown. A lot of people were kind of empathetic for him too. Though.
The story with Antonio Brown, I'm not sure which way this is leaning anymore, but because so many different things. But the story from him was that Tampa Bay tried to have him play through an injury that he specifically had told them about a week prior, and he did not practice that week due to that same injury.
I'm fine with that, and I will tell you this: it doesn't matter what you do. If you're a football player, if you're a pool guy, if you're a rodeo athlete, if you're a freaking secretary, there's ways to handle things if we don't like what's going on at our job, okay? And just we live in a different world right now. So the way that people are acting and handling things, I just think need to pull it in and get it in check.
I agree. The evolution of the rodeo athletes happened a lot faster than those others. Like I've always said this, right? You can go on record and you can say that I've said this, and I think a lot of people agree that rodeo's been about 30 years behind. Well, it just got a 20-year jump in the last 3. Now, here's the issue, right? That's not a lot of time for evolution with the ranchy people who do rodeo, right?
Touche.
It's not. And here's the other issue. There is a world of difference between the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, all these things, and the PRCA. There's a huge difference. And the people who govern those bodies are totally different, right? There's so many different aspects to that here's one of the big complaints if you rodeo for a living. You don't feel like you got anybody in your corner. Now, what they don't realize is exactly what you're saying. You actually do it your sponsors.
The sponsors, it's supposed to be a partnership. And I will tell you, you can go into the PRCA, what have you. The arguments are heard, it's run by cowboys. Let's bring a little business in it. Let's bring a little, we want more. And I totally get that. But again, it is a partnership between the athlete and the sponsors. Who's running the organization? The argument could be, well, let's have, cowboys run the organization because they understand who we are and how we do it. Then you get the argument, well, they don't know anything about business, so how are we going to bring in more money? So it's a constant argument, constant battle, what have you. My biggest thing with the sponsors and the athletes is this. I've sat down and had so many conversations with athletes and said, hey, and I hate that we continue to use 12-gauge ranch. 12-gauge ranch sells nothing. I mean, our horses, the breeding program, I'm all about the horses, but we're not selling boots, hats. Yeah, we have some memorabilia, some shirts and hats and stuff, but that's not what we do for a living. My biggest thing, talking to the athletes, is like, hey, you have to do your due diligence, giving them shouts, making sure you're aware of your endorsements and taking care of that. It shouldn't just be, hey, one time a year, hey, I want to thank this or I want to thank that. I mean, that's got to be a yearly job. I've had a few athletes on 12-gauge ranch that they've actually went out and hired marketing people to do their thanking and social media and what have you, and it's worth every penny. But I just think sponsors, everybody, well, you know this, everybody has more money now than they ever had before. True?
Fact.
We're busier now that we're making more money than we ever have. True?
Absolutely. That's been a topic of discussion for months.
I will tell you, we may not be having fun doing it.
Now you're stealing my words.
Well, touche. But again, we're making more money than we ever have.
Everyone is.
But here's what I will say is, and I know people hate my analogies, but I can go to a restaurant and it can be the best food in the world. And we want to go to that restaurant to eat because we know that food is delicious. But if we continue to go to that restaurant and we get shitty service every time we go there, there's going to come a point where, like, you know what? We can go get a steak somewhere else. And that's kind of where, you know, as a sponsor, I look at things too. Like, man, I can sit here and beg you and beg you and beg you for service. But if you want to continue to give me shitty service, I'll go find a steak somewhere else. You know how many athletes would die to be getting the endorsements you get? The health insurance you want to get. Now, again, I'm getting passionate and pissy, and I'm sorry. But, you know, I don't want this freaking expectation like, well, you come to me because I'm this. Well, dude, you know, you are popular in a small little world, okay? And to give that money away, it just makes no sense if you're not keeping up your end of the deal. So, thoughts?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to respond with an analogy, right? Because there's a lot of other businesses that are outside of the gauge and 12 gauge ranch that play a big role in it that obviously we keep very private, but there's shit we're doing during the day that ain't this.
Exactly.
And my main reason for doing the shit that I do that ain't this is because I knew what a rodeo lifestyle would have done for me.
Exactly.
Wouldn't have worked. And it's something you've got to kind of come in and observe. And it's always funny, right, when you see what people do. Not all of them, but there's a level of fear when you rodeo for a living, right? Like, what comes next? My horse is lame. I'm screwed, right? It's so finite, right? And you see these things, right? Like, you see it during the NFR this year. You see a Stetson Wright. Bad motherfucker.
Jedi.
Love that dude. Win the amount of money that he won. Set a record for earnings. That is such an anomaly because he's in 2 events and won the all around and did all these amazing things to make. Let's just be real frank here. He made about what, $650,000 or something like that. Like, an amazing, right? So nice to see a deep 6-figure check
From a rodeo
earnings
athlete.
from a rodeo athlete.
A rodeo athlete.
But if you're a half a fucking businessman, that ain't dick.
It
doesn't go anywhere, actually.
Well, and furthermore, my argument is this, you know, and again, I don't want to be too harsh. I admire these guys out there doing whatever.
More than anybody else in any sport.
Whatever they're doing, it is made. When I say whatever it is, you know, bareback, team roping, you know, steer wrestling, you know, the barrel racer. It's amazing.
The point that I was trying to make is the absolute most that's ever been won in rodeo. This is excluding PBR, obviously. It was what he won. Fantastic. That's the most anyone's ever done it ever.
Well,
and
I agree. And again, I'm certainly not here. I don't think you're certainly here. I'm not sitting here trying to discourage people from doing, you know,
never. The opposite.
I'm not, you go chase your dreams. That's fine. I mean, not everybody say, hey, I've got a ranch, you know, I've got my truck, trailer, my family, my kids. I just had a reunion last year, and it's funny, social media came up. Somebody said, oh, gosh, look at all the successful people that have come from your little school, and it really got me going. I'm like, well, gosh, let's define what is success. What's success?
I don't have the same thing coming from my school.
Well, again, you know, they were like, oh, we've had Major League Baseball players, and we've had, you know, an actor, and then there's this professional singer, this and that. And I'm like, you know what? That's kind of a bullshit way of defining success.
Well, so that's an important thing that I wanted to hit, because what I said kind of almost sounded like a dickhead thing if I didn't finish the sentence. But I would never want to discourage somebody from rodeoing, because if your only motivation, right, because if you want to be successful in business, your only motivation can be money, and
Absolutely.
you can be successful because there's very little passion that goes into digging pools or selling trailers.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a fact. Like, you're not passionate about the freaking gunite that's getting sprayed. And
Yep.
if you are, you're a fucking weirdo.
Yep.
But you're passionate about the work you put in and the result you get, which, is it monetary? Yes, it is. And then that allows you to live life you want. You can't do that with rodeo. You're going to get fucked up. If you're trying to rodeo for money, it's not going to work, right? These people are doing it for passion because it's their dream, their life.
Well, and that's my thing too. There's got to be a certain amount of pride with any product you're putting out, and I would imagine a lot of these rodeo athletes like, well, Dustin, Chance, it's not about the money. Man, I get it, okay. To be the best, that damn Tim O'Connell, he's a freaking stud. I mean, you talk to him at the beginning of a rodeo year, he's like, no, dude, I'm here to win. And I mean, you don't even talk to the guy 2 hours before an event because he is full-on senior psychopath. I mean, passion. And that's where it's at. And that passion has brought him a ton of success. Same thing with you. I mean, the trailers, even this, it's been so successful because we're passionate about what we do. The Gauge podcast, I don't think people realize, and this isn't a woe was me deal, but I don't think they realize the monies that go into this, bringing guests in, the time away from your family and doing all these episodes stuff. Why are we doing it? It sure as hell is not to get rich. Our dream and our passion was to get these uncensored stories out into the world, to let the world know who these people are, who these athletes are. You want to hear about it, you want to hear about it raw, you want to hear about what they go through, man, you come to the Gauge, you tell your damn story. You don't have to worry about, not that there's anything wrong with the Cowboy Channel, but you can't get raw in 30 seconds and tell them what's going on. So that was the reason we do this. But it's freaking draining. True?
You're telling me.
So again, I think my passion, my frustration is like, man, let's pull the reins back. Let's look at why we started this, what's going on, and get focused in a vision. I think all these athletes need to say, hey, why am I doing this? Who got me where I am? Talent can get you so far, okay? But you better make sure you're remembering the people that got you to where you are. So that's my thought.
And the thing, as an outsider for this, I know I'm an outsider. Everyone likes to pick on that. But just in terms of looking at a sport aspect, the one thing that's going against rodeo athletes is, unlike our other sports where teams are paying them, there's no team paying these athletes at all. And we know we have the PBR that's now doing that team format. I think that's going to be great for the sport in terms of helping athletes out. But
sure, it's going to be great for the sport of bull riding, but that's a separate entity.
And yeah,
the PBR
separate entity.
The PBR has a lot of really brilliant people who own other things, right?
Yeah.
So UFC, PBR, Endeavor, that whole thing. So you got a think tank of brilliant business-minded
I was just
people.
getting ready to tell you, remember, you know why it's becoming so successful? Because it's frickin' business people thinking it through.
And they run it like a business. They don't run it
Absolutely.
like it's a non-profit funneling membership money into the
Absolutely.
thing. Which I understand why the PRC and the WPRA do what they do. But if you want to look at success and you want to look at a matrix for making money and growing a sport, the PBR gives away $1 million check to the winner every year. Now we got a second season of teams. It's fucking amazing. If you're not a fan of the PBR now, you'll never be, because this shit's as exciting as bull riding could possibly get. You have teams with legendary people being appointed the coaches that are picking and drafting and doing these great things, and they're selling PBR teams to these great entities. Teton Ridge is one of them. They got the Arizona team. Like, there's a whole nother discussion with Teton Ridge, and most of that's going to happen with them when they come on the show, but it's unbelievable. Right?
Well,
you got a PBR team off of an idea selling for $3 million in its inception. That's fucking amazing for a Western sport.
The other part of it too is it's whenever you have just sponsors putting money into the sport, that's not going to cut it. Look at every major professional sport. You have money coming not only from sponsors, but from teams who are driving their own revenue, putting their own investments into it, and that's how those leagues between NBA, NFL, and even like motorsport, that's how they become successful. That both sides
and
help.
again, calling a spade in my eyes, and again, I tell you, I'm not too far behind you on being an outsider. I will tell you, and And that's why Miss Cody's doing so good with the equine athletes and doing what she's doing with 12 gauge. But if you look at our athletes, besides your stock riders, different things like that, again, spade to spade, even our barrel racer athlete stuff, the horse is so important. Sometimes you take away that horse, what is that athlete without that horse? I mean, it's not like NASCAR where you can take one driver and possibly put him into another car, and because he's so talented as a driver, I mean, the horses are amazing. How many times have we seen somebody, well, they just came just short of making the NFR because they lost their horse? We see that all the time.
To play devil's advocate on that, though, like, only because it's for the sake of conversation, it's really important to mention, because you do have to give these girls credit. You've seen amazing horses change hands, and then that horse is nothing in another set of hands, right?
Right.
There's no chance, and maybe there's somebody out there, but if you put anybody on Sister other than Haley Kinsel, there's a strong possibility that they don't do anything.
I agree.
I
agree. I mean,
you put somebody other than Jordan Briggs on Rolo, there's a possibility they're not going to do anything.
100%.
Not saying it's not the rule, but it's definitely likely that because of the bonds they have with those horses and they know exactly what to do and what not to do, it's really tough to put a different jockey on a horse at that level.
And that's my whole point, is the bond that they have, that these athletes have then with the horses, that sometimes isn't duplicated. And you can't have such a successful team without one or the other. Again, you can use a Haley and a Sister, switch out either one. Take away Haley, take away Sister. What is Haley, the same on another horse? Is Sister the same with another jockey? I have no doubt that Haley, with her program and stuff, will be able to jump on somebody else. But I'm just saying that's my whole thing with the dynamics. If you go back to that whole team situation with what we're talking about with that PBR, that's absolutely brilliant business. Let me tell you why. Because you're going to get fan base saying, man, let's go team Oklahoma or go team, Arizona. And you're going to get fan base just like with football of, man, I think our team's going to whoop your team's ass.
The best comparison I can think of, and again, no one's going to know what I'm saying here with motorsport, F1, there's a great comparison between Rodeo and F1 in terms of team. They're now specifically looking at PBR. If there's teams, you have specific drivers, aka the people that can ride horses, and then you can have the greatest car in the world, but you need to know how to ride it.
Drive it. You bet. And I said the same thing. I will tell you, by no means am I taking any credit for anything, but that was kind of my vision years ago. We had 12 gauge ranch. I wanted the best of the best on it, and I was talking back, clear back to the former, George Taylor and what have you. I'm like, all right, how about we throw $1 million down? I'll take Team 12 gauge ranch. You bring on a Team Wrangler or a Team Cinch or a Team, Justin Boot. I'm just throwing a name out, and let's take it on, because people will want to cheer for your entire team. The best of the best in all
and it puts more money.
Categories.
It puts more money into the sport too.
So, and it is. I think we need to remember.
We must not be having very enlightening conversation.
The bombshell's falling.
She's asleep.
Oh, she has a headache, she says. You're bleeding. She's got a headache. Riley's still mad at you.
Riley is mad at me. And, I think it might be the first time Riley's actually been truly mad at me.
It happens. It happens.
It is what it is. At some point, I rub all the women in my life the wrong way. It's just the way it is. Guys, rock and roll denim has absolutely changed the game when it comes to the performance and style in Western jeans. Top competitors like Shad, Tim O'Connell, Shelly Morgan, you name it. Your boy right here. We're all wearing rock and roll denim inside and outside of the arena. It gives you the flexibility you need to win, as well as looking absolutely great in your interviews, appearances, whatever it is you're doing. Even when you're just doing podcasts like me. I had a chance to go to Rock and Roll Denim's factory the other day and pick out all the pants I wanted. Here's the thing. I got to try on a bunch of their new jeans. I love the men's Revolver jeans with the Reflex Stretch technology because they're comfy. They're not stiff like some of the other jeans. Go check them out at rockandrolldenim.com or follow Rock and Roll Denim on Facebook and Instagram for the newest trends in Western fashion. rockandrolldenim.com. Guys, mark your calendar booked January 30th, 2 to 5 p.m. in Sunset, Texas at XX Equine. The fantastic Lieutenant Colonel Alan West is coming for a meet and greet. He's there to answer any questions you have because he is running for governor in the 2022 race here in Great Texas. He has some phenomenal ideas. We here at The Gauge 100% endorse Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. He just appeared on an episode of The Gauge. I encourage you to go check that one out. Remember, save the date. Don't do anything but this on January 30th. Whether you agree with us or disagree with us, we want you to come. Everyone's welcome. There's going to be food. Probably going to be a badger. Come on.
So, do you not see the light that says we're recording? That's all I got to say about that.
She did ask Riley to dim the light so she could nap easier.
It's nice. The problem of it is the studio's too comfortable. So,
You know, everyone who comes in here does say that.
dude, we vested in a.
Raise your hand if you've napped on that sofa.
Oh my gosh.
Whenever we had Derek and his two buddies that came along, they fell asleep on the couch during the recording.
That's true.
Let me tell you how happy it makes me feel that you just raised your hand, being a salaried employee, that you've slept on the damn couch. I can't with him anymore.
Yeah.
I was not being paid during that moment.
Yeah, that was Peyton Bray and Eric Rogers, by the way. Those are big-time rodeo athletes.
Riley didn't raise her hand. Noted. Hello, I just got a promotion.
No, all she's doing is crossing her arms and glaring at me. Can you scoot over a little bit? You're making me uncomfortable.
So,
Wrong
anyways,
direction.
anyways, what else do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the success
What success?
of the Gauge, man?
No.
It's doubled. I'm so proud.
No,
of you.
I don't want to talk about that.
Do you want to talk about?
I like, so here's where I'm at with that sort of thing. I would rather things talk for themselves in that regard. There's so many things we could talk about that's not self-inflation, and believe me, I love it. I could use an ego boost like no one's business. I got punched in the nose by my own mother today. So I could use any ego boost whatsoever. My trusted person, Riley, here, just gave me the middle finger.
Yeah,
So
she's mad at you.
I'm 2 losses in, so ego boost would be nice, but let's not talk about that. I think there's more important things we could talk about, and there's a lot of things that people don't know about you. You said this earlier today, and it was really, or not today, it was yesterday, really enlightening for me. As you had mentioned, not going to say a name, but you're like, they're not going to know who the fuck Dustin Pointer is. So there's a great thing, and you've done this to yourself a little bit because you play the recluse role very well, especially this last year. You dipped off the face of the earth. I could call 10 different people who tried to reach you.
They're flipping out.
Who haven't been able to get a hold of you from different organizations, which is good.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it. But that's because the world has been flipped completely upside down, and it affected rodeo in one way, but holy shit, did it affect us on business sides so much more.
Business, I have never seen it this way. I will tell you this, if you're not making money today, you have got a serious, serious issue you need to step back and take a look at. We'll probably get chewed up on social media with people saying that, with me saying that. But I will tell you, the opportunities are out there right now. Everybody's hiring. Doesn't have much to do with the rodeo world. The rodeo world, I'm glad to see, is back, opened up, and people are going to rodeos. You're getting more people going to rodeos than you ever had before. But I will tell you, opportunities are there. There's some things going on in rodeo I don't like. I mean, I think Cody was saying, they were just taking away some monies from other things. I think
Scooch those pretzels over here. I normally wouldn't eat on a podcast, but this is family.
I think there's still some things that need to be changed and what have you.
That's directly in Dustin's camera.
What, the pretzels?
Yes.
He was trying to hide his face anyway. What difference does it make?
Oh my God, don't do that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my Lord.
Do you think people, what do they think when they hear this kind of crap?
Oh my God.
I don't really know. I think anybody who listens to this show realizes that the person who runs this place is a complete head case.
Touche. All right, go back to what you say. Listen, I'm not I don't have to be in front of the camera. And again, you're right. I said this to you. Let's throw it up there. I mean, we've had hundreds and hundreds of Riley, how many episodes are we at now? 151. How many are we at?
115.
115. We've had 115 guests. And I bet
115 plus guests.
115 plus guests. I bet there is maybe 15 of them that would even know who Dustin Pointer is. And I'm okay with that. I don't care. As long as, rodeo's getting the recognition and the spotlight that I wanted to get. That's why we started this. I don't have to have people know But I think every human being every once in a while will be like, oh, he's affiliated with that. Oh, that's who that is. We were talking the other day about that Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan. I wonder how many people in the world know that Taylor Sheridan is a character on Yellowstone.
He's that one guy.
He's that one guy. But, again, every once in a blue moon, I think people like to see, oh, you're behind that. You're behind that. It is what it is. But, that's not why I do it. I sure don't do it for a high five. I'm glad it's getting the success it's getting. So, I'm glad your nose stopped bleeding.
So am I, because I've been dizzy this whole time. I've been keeping it together, but I think I lost about a quart of blood. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Ty.
And Ty.
So.
What'd I do again?
Well, you certainly couldn't give me a bloody nose. I know that.
I'm the only one that hasn't hit your ego today.
That's true. What you guys don't realize is there wasn't an ego to hit. You're
hitting a dead horse.
You're hitting it air. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. So, some of the things I did want to talk about with you, because we've been discussing it kind of in depth, is the big shifts that have happened in the industry. And it's funny because 12 Gauge Ranch was doing a certain thing, and we've completely decided we're going to do something else.
Yep, we're going a different direction.
And we're excited as hell about it. I know I am. But
yes,
other people have come into the industry, and I don't want to use the word perfected, but invested more, because it's just the way it is.
Sure.
Took ideas that were had from 12 gauge and just took it to the 10th degree, right?
100%.
I'm one of those people, because I remember when all this started happening, you get on Facebook and they're basically like, this is the end, this is the end. I disagree. People don't invest millions of dollars into something if they're trying to end it. I think that's one of the things that your average layman person doesn't understand, is that you don't invest millions into something to shut it down. No one does that. No one's going to lose millions of dollars to shut something down. It's just not realistic.
Guys, take it from humbly. I consider myself a businessman. The rodeo industry, the Western industry, is an untapped market. Okay, there is money to be made from a business standpoint. Okay, athletes, there is so much more money and potential for you to make, and for them, for athletes to make.
Well, and when you say humbly, I think it's important to mention, we won't go into details, but the entire rodeo industry isn't worth as much as your one business. It's the reality of it. So you should be able to speak on this.
But again, people don't need to know that, nor do I.
But it's important for perspective.
I will tell you, it is for perspective. I will tell you this. I came from absolutely nothing, so I know what it's like to maybe I didn't have to get up and feed my horse and work and throw a rope, but I did other things to make sure I was successful at what I did. But let's go back to what's going on. There are companies coming in and investing in rodeo, investing in single rodeos, and promotion, and dumping millions into the business. And why anybody would get scared about that is beyond me. This sport and this industry needs as much recognition
and investment
as it can get. And I will tell you this, again, I'll say it again, the opportunity is absolutely right now to do it, because everybody has more money than they've ever had before, okay? Furthermore, and I say that was, the opportunity is there. I will tell you, again, Yellowstone has done a phenomenal job of promoting the Western world. I don't care how make-believe or how real or not real you think it is. It's got the world, I think, isn't it around somewhere 14 million people following Yellowstone right now? You want to look that up, Ty?
I don't even know what the viewership is, but it's the #1 show in the entire country. It is, right?
But I will tell you this. What is it, Ty?
I'm looking up right on Instagram, 1.6 million.
Yeah, but viewers.
Viewers.
How many viewers
Instagram
does Yellowstone?
Give me one moment.
But I will tell you, the world wants a little cowboy. Okay, the world wants to have a little cowboy. It's all over your your TikToks, your Instagrams, what have you. People started watching Yellowstone. Now everybody's got a damn cowboy hat on. Everybody has, how much is it? 10.4 million. I would have swore I saw.
And Paramount Network gained like 66% more viewers in terms of their live stream and their live stream format.
So back that up. I think businesses, people, individuals are saying, "Oh my gosh, look at this industry," and they're ready to dump funds.
Well, and here's the thing,
in that industry,
the people who are spending the money have ties to that, and if they look at a return like that on a make believe show.
Mm-hmm.
And then you correlate that to what can happen in the real world. It's no fucking wonder they're dumping money into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you see that, the correlation equals causation, right? In everything you do, right? If you pick a product and you market that product and it sells well, then what you're going to do is you're going to invest more money in that product and market it harder to sell more of it, right? That's exactly what they're doing. But they're selling the real world now, and it's brilliant.
Well, what do you think? Let's ask two things. What do you think the expectation of a rodeo fan is if they were to go to a rodeo? What's the expectation of that fan?
All right, so let's do a couple things. Let's decide who the rodeo fan is and what exactly you're saying is rodeo fan. Are you talking about
if I've got Mr. and Mrs.
my
Jones?
family is someone from my family is competing in this event, or are we talking about someone who's like, I'm buying a ticket because I want the action of a rodeo?
I'm saying, guys, let's bring it back. Let's talk business. Let's talk money because, again, even you, I love you, that's your family. You know, everybody's grown up in rodeo. You've got sisters competing. You've got mom and dads that are trainers. That's great. But listen, I'm talking about Mr. and Mrs. Jones that have sat on their couch on Sunday nights and watch this guy Rip be such a badass and, you know, seen this little dork Jimmy evolve into a rodeo guy and see all this rodeo stuff. And they're like, man, we want to watch rodeo and we want to go. Next time we hear rodeos come to town, we want to go watch a rodeo. And they find out one's coming near them and they buy a ticket. What is their expectation? What do you think?
I think their expectation is the exact same expectation that they would have if they went and bought a ticket to go watch a football game. They want to be entertained, and they want to be wowed by the spectacle.
Okay, so I agree with that. Now, Ty, and you can jump in your little comment on this. The average Mr. and Mrs. Jones, do they go to that football game knowing that they may see a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady?
That's that in terms of just casual fans.
I want
that's
a
what they're
casual
expecting.
fan.
That's what they're expecting. They're expecting big names.
So the problem with rodeo business is that rodeo business has not done a good job promoting their athletes. They haven't created a Tom Brady, in my humble opinion, they haven't created a Tom Brady, a Patrick Mahomes. I don't name a Tiger Woods, name the athlete, okay? In y'all's little world, you think, oh my gosh, that's this. Even a Trevor Brazil, who is the Jedi of cowboys, I'll be the first to tell you, 5 years ago, I didn't know who the hell Trevor Brazil was. I do now that I'm involved in this little freaking rodeo world, but I'm telling you, your layman doesn't know who it is. And you cowboys that think you're a damn household name, whose house you going to? Okay? Not to be a jerk, but, you know,
being straight up.
If you think you're a household name, you better figure out what street you're on because most houses don't know who the hell you are. So I will tell you, Rodeo, PRCA, and all these other companies have done a piss poor job of promoting these athletes. They don't have the Tom Brady's. They don't have the Patrick Mahomes. They do within their little cliques. But again, they don't know, people don't know who they are. So if Mr. and Mrs. Jones is going to buy a ticket to a rodeo,
they're not buying it. So your average person who's going to the rodeo, let's say in Houston, in their hometown, they are not buying that ticket to go watch a specific athlete. They're buying that ticket for the same reason they buy a Ringling Brothers ticket, for the spectacle.
And so what I'm saying and what I've been in the trenches fighting for, I think that is a problem. I think you would even bring more people in if Rodeo did a better job of promoting their athletes and somebody said, oh my gosh, I'm going to see pick a name. Oh my gosh, Tyler Wagsback, he's such a jet, or a Haley Kinsel. Oh my gosh, I'm going to see a Haley Kinsel. Rodeo just wants to put fans in.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on. I'm going to finish this. I think Rodeo just wants to have people in the seats, and they don't give two shits who's running around the barrels or who's jumping off the horse. That's my opinion.
And I got something to back this up too. Not to go back to F1, but there's just a clear correlation here. F1 was struggling with viewership and ratings before they got taken over by a certain media group, and they decided to do the Drive to Survive series on Netflix, which really focused on the teams, the team principals, aka the coaches, and the drivers.
How much money did Lewis Hamilton make last year?
I need to look.
He was on the Forbes list.
Yeah, I need to
Top
look.
5, right?
Yeah, and the whole point though is F1 gained viewership. They gained and grew as a sport by starting to promote their drivers specifically, like Lewis Hamilton.
But that's my whole point. I mean, Instagram's all over. People holding up signs. I drove all the way from Canada to be able to see Patrick Mahomes play. Or how many people want to go to golf just to see Tiger Woods hit a damn ball? So, again, I get the Western lifestyle and they'll buy a ticket to come see the rodeo. I just think it could be even that much better if we would do a better job promoting our athletes.
So you're saying something that a huge portion of professional rodeo cowboys and cowgirls are saying too. Right? This is a topic that goes around the watering hole quite a bit. Now, here's the key difference, and this is a great correlation between the PBR and rodeo. PBR is a business. What does PRCA's tax statement say? What does it say? Non-profit.
Yep.
Which means what from a businessman's perspective?
Not a business.
Not a fucking business.
So
What motivation would the PRCA or the WPRA, for that matter, organizations that don't have a ton of employees, what is their number one goal? Someone from the audience answer. What's the PRCA's number one goal? Membership. That's the problem. Now, here's the issue. You have these stars who actually do draw audience.
Sure.
Your Haley Kinsels, your Shad Mayfields, your fucking Stetson Wrights, and your Sage Kimseys, add to the list. They do pull audience. They do. And here's what they don't.
The sisters, the J-Los,
the horses do too.
The Scooter when he was, on the top of his game. So
yeah. So, but here's the thing, and it's a really difficult conversation, which is why I think the industry's heading in the right direction with people investing real money into rodeo, like they have in cow horse forever,
right,
like they have in a lot of other equine sports like polo and racing and
yep,
you name it, like they did in Formula One to bring that back to life, like they do in the PBR, like Jose look at Instagram followings for the top PBR guys, 3-4 times more than your top rodeo person.
Mm-hmm.
Jess Lockwood's been hurt for basically 2 years, and he still has 500,000 on Instagram. I don't know who has the most as a PRCA, WPRA athlete, but it's not 500,000.
You bet.
So they promote those individual athletes. They pay them big money. They get paid endorsements to do things. Rodeo, they don't get, there's no fee that a Haley or a Stetson or any big name who might actually have the power to put some people in seats, they get nothing. There's nothing they get. They pay their membership just like someone who wants to go to 1 or 2 or 3 rodeos or just fill their permit. So no matter what, the reason that that's the case, and this is just my opinion, is because the sport of rodeo does not invest in athletes.
Absolutely not.
At all. They don't. And that's just the way it is. And it's this old mindset. Maybe it's old. Maybe it's done because they just don't have the money to do it. I don't really know. And it doesn't help us to speculate on that part, but it doesn't change the facts that your sport's not going to evolve like others have if you do not start investing in the people.
I will tell you this, and I was drinking Dr. Pepper, and you got a hold of my drink and obviously put something else in it, which pisses me off. But I will tell you this, and it's odd that I'm going to bring it up.
How many drinks have you spiked over the years?
Touche. I will tell you this. I'm surprised I'm going to bring it up, but it was a year ago. I will tell you, past 3, 4, 5 NFRs, whether it been in Vegas or Texas, Dustin was right on the 50-yard line cheering for the athletes. And I will tell you, we sponsored heavy. And I was in contact and talking with a PRCA employee and just telling them, we're always fighting for them. And I was like, hey, we're doing this. And I'm like, it was this last year. I'm like, hey, I'm there and let's invest. And at this point, we were talking about doing some heavy changes with finances and where
we
we
almost did.
I was that far away from writing the check.
How many calls were we on about that?
It's such a waste of time. But anyways, sitting 50-yard line, front row, and somebody from the PRCA he's like, Riley, I think were you on this call, Riley? Is she still in here?
She's nodding yes.
She's not in here.
She's just playing with her hair.
Oh. So she was. But this PRCA employee, like, gosh, what's Dustin Pointer doing sitting, at the 50-yard line? And I was like, bitch, I'm sitting here giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and want nothing in return. I'm not trying to sell product. I'm not trying to sell anything. Doing it just so these athletes can, one, put more money in their pocket, two, so they can get more promotion, hopefully take these monies and make the sport grow. And they couldn't figure out. They're like, well, gosh, we should have, the CEO of Coca-Cola sitting in the 50-yard line. Well, let me tell you this. The CEO of Coca-Cola doesn't want to sit on the 50-yard line and have dirt, in his beer. He wants to be sitting up in a suite and what have you. Furthermore, the CEO of Coca-Cola is not writing a check out of his personal account. He may be spending Coca-Cola's money, but not his own personal money. Okay, and it's kind of like the government. It's real easy to pass taxes and do different things like that and spend other people's money, but when it's your own, it's a little more difficult. That's the one thing about me, 12 gauge. We're writing a check with no expectations, nothing more other than to help Rodeo. And man, it damn pissed me off, and that's one of the reasons why you saw Dustin kind of get real quiet and not see me this past year, because it made me sit back and be like, why in the hell am I doing this if Rodeo doesn't want to help themselves? Again, now, on the other hand, look at what the Gauge has done and the growth that we've had. And I'm glad that we're able to continue to grow and glad that we're able to continue to get the stories of these athletes out. That's what we wanted. We want to get, the information out. But again, that was super frustrating. So,
well, and I think there might be some misconceptions on why we started the Gauge. I mean, I damn sure didn't need to do it.
Oh,
from a financial standpoint, I was way good before, and I'm way good without it.
Right.
It does nothing for me financially to do this, but there's very little things, and it's so great because you felt the same way, because Rodeo was a hard thing for me. It fucked up like my finances. It screwed up my personal relationships because there's no possible way I could have made it work correctly.
Sure.
And I learned that. And then I had some intrinsic jealousies because my sister did pull off what none of the rest of us pulled off. And so I felt like I had to do that. And it screwed up all kinds of things for me, which is why I took the turn I did. Thank fucking God I did.
Right.
Because I've got an amazing life because I made that change, which then helped me do this. Just like you helped me do this, and all these different things that kind of led to this being a thing. But ain't nobody sitting in here late at night doing this to try to stuff our pockets or help anything.
You say you guys tell me you want to shut this down, it's no problem. Checkbook says that's okay by us,
right?
And I mean,
but
you've got a couple of boys. I mean, imagine the time that you're sacrificing with that. So spade is spade. But keep going.
But here's the reason that we do it, and this is the thing that upsets me sometimes. And now we're just laying things out for people. Maybe they don't want to hear it, but I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they do want to know what it feels like to put 20 hours a week into something for no pay just because you want to help the sport that you were born into.
Right.
Right? I put 20 hours a week into the Gauge. I've taken $0. You've taken $0. Everything that we have just only on this side, not even get into 12 gauge, It's just investment, because I couldn't imagine a world without rodeo. I couldn't. Even if I'm not partaking in it, I couldn't imagine not having that. And when you leave and you go and you start successful businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses that have nothing to do with the Western world, you see something in that world, it's a lot more cutthroat than this world is. There's no one protecting you in corporate America. They want you gone. They want you dead. Your competition isn't there pushing your calf. They're doing everything they can to get rid of Dustin Pointer's business.
And competition scares them to death.
It does. And because this is such a safe haven for people, it's got to be protected. But there's also people inside of it who aren't trying to protect it. They're trying to milk it for everything it's worth. They're trying to use it as a tool. And a lot of people, I'll never say who I think it is or don't, but they're using these athletes for whatever it is their dime is worth to them.
Absolutely.
Using them up and spitting them out.
Absolutely.
And I just can't handle that. And maybe somebody thinks I'm a jackass. I know there's people who swing rope for a living who think I'm a jackass.
I think you're a jackass.
Well, no, I am a jackass,
I need you
but that's
to know
not the
that.
point. You know me well enough to call me a jackass. Some of them don't. But I want people in rodeo to have that star power. I want my sister to have that star. I want Ivy to walk through an airport and get mobbed because she is who she is.
Why do you think it was so frustrating for me? What do you think I've been trying to beat in people's head for is to know their value?
What are you
and worth?
shaking your head about? Say it.
Oh my gosh.
Riley's not
was
twirling
talking
her
to
hair
Riley.
anymore.
No, but it's the value and worth of these athletes. I mean, that's one thing that I know that I've tried to beat.
I like your buttons.
Stay focused.
Disappointing
I think
going on,
you drank too much.
I'm
you're
lightheaded
not
from
safe.
loss of blood.
He has some ADD or ADHD.
But listen, no, going back, that is the whole point. We've tried to instill in these athletes of know their value and worth. It is frustrating when you see people getting taken advantage of. Furthermore, like I said, some of these guys are the best. Some of these girls and guys are the best of the best at what they do.
And people, let's be real. The best of the best human beings.
That is what drew me in too. Just down to earth, grab a hold of you, hug on you, love on you, welcome to you know how many dinner tables that they welcome you in, sit down, part of the family. I mean, that is what draws you to
But that's
rodeo.
not the rest of the world, and that's why it's so
not the rest of the
special
world.
here.
And I think that is why the world has taken a bite of the Western lifestyle and why they're so attracted to it. You know, the world has seen what it's like. They want it. They're hungry. They're more hungry for it now than they ever have been. And that's why I asked you, I go, what do you think, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that go to a rodeo, what do you think their expectations are? You answer that question. I'll ask you this. Now, the rodeo athlete who goes to a rodeo, what do you think their expectations should be? If they're going to compete and they're at the top percentage of their game and they're competing in this rodeo, there's fans all around watching this, what do you think their expectations should be?
You know what I would love to do? Riley, what day did the WPRA put out that survey? Day before yesterday? Yeah, 2 or 3 days ago. Did you take it yet? Did you take it? No.
Nope.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, what I would love to do is put out an anonymous survey to all of the professional athletes in the PRC and WPRA that has nothing to do with the organizations, but ask them what they think they should get. What do you think you should get? Because I know if it's me, and this is based on conversations that I've had with a lot of people who rodeo for a living, what should their expectation be? Their animals should be protected. There's a reason barrel racers have been fighting forever to have the ground be sufficient. You're getting to the point where there's every horse in the top 15 is worth 7 figures, right? And we finally, well, they got some rakes around there, but you've got other rodeos who are dropping that and making room for other things and removing the drags and doing these different things. So depending on what event you're in, if you're a star, the minimum you should expect is an appearance fee. I think you should expect
that
it.
is business 101. That is what I'm saying rodeo has to have. Again, are the people coming and buying a ticket to see this particular athlete, is that who they want to see? Or,
they don't have any representation.
Are they doing more ticket sales? Oh, I've got a Major League Baseball buddy that he would talk for hours about that. He does not understand.
We have the same buddy.
We do, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
would
almost
just
killed him.
Throw a fit.
It was your horse, though, to be
It
fair.
was my horse. That they don't have representation. But, did Mr. and Mrs. homeowner buy a ticket to come to that rodeo to see them? Because that, they
So
should
what
get a
you
kick out of
have,
that.
what you have in rodeo is the athletes, just like what you said, and these are all opinions. Feel like I could be totally off base, but it's just what I see and what I read and what I talk to people about all the freaking time. Like I have 2-hour conversations with people that aren't on this show who said, "Hey, I value your opinion. What do you think about this?" Dumb, you shouldn't ask me. But hold on, let me finish this. It's up to the rodeo athletes, right? There's a reason that there's unions for these others. They didn't used to be. The athletes stood up
Absolutely.
and got representation
Oh my gosh,
to make sure that they were protected from the organizations. Because you can't blame an organization for taking advantage of you if you allow them to take advantage of you.
100%.
Move up to the front seat of the bus.
I will tell you, if the Cowboys, the athletes would all get together and if there was a union or
But
somebody
they're so
fighting them,
scared of losing
what are they going to
think
freaking
they're
lose? What are they going to lose?
the opportunity to compete for money and get
And
six
that's
holes
my
paid.
whole argument. So again, okay, you don't get to compete. And again, it's just an ever evolving cycle of, okay, well, we don't care about your name. We'll just get somebody else in there to compete. But that's my whole thing. If I'm a homeowner, if I'm buying a ticket to go watch a rodeo, I want to see the best of the best. I want to see the top dogs, the world champions, do their thing. Oh
Here's
my
the
gosh.
problem. Here's the problem. This is just an opinion, but you would have to get everybody to unanimously believe the same thing, and that's going to be tough, right? Because you have the people, they're just so damn humble and they're just so damn accommodating that they think that the machine is their friend, right? It's a lot like politics. It's like if you really think the government's out to protect you, you're an idiot.
Well, do this. Riley, say yes loud. Are you here?
Yes.
All right, so do this. We need to put our damn money where our mouth is. Why don't you set up a thing, do it through our social media. Let's do a freaking vote. Let's find out. Let's do we'll let the gauge be the
We'll let
platform
12
of-
gauge be the platform.
All right, let 12 gauge be the platform. I don't give two shits, but send it out to the set it up for the rodeo athlete. They can do something anonymous where then we can gather the information. We can sit in front of the board. We can throw it down in front of them and be like, look, this is what your athletes are wanting. We got to have somebody that's going to stand up and say, all right, hey, we're sick of all the talk, but here's what we're doing. We're fighting through it. Because, again, you can sit in around arena behind the scenes and you can have them all, the athletes will talk like, well, we should do this, we should do that. There is going to have to be a time where they eventually say, okay, well, we won't. I know some steer wrestlers past 2 years have jumped out of Cheyenne because they changed stuff up so much. And that was a big deal. I got a call from the president, like, man, why are the steer wrestlers doing it? Well, look what you're doing to them, what you're expecting.
Hey, we had
from
some
them.
people sit out of Odessa.
Odessa was just this other week throwing a fit because they made
Not as many as should, but a few people sat out, but a lot of them didn't because like, well, we still gotta go. Now, it's just such a hard thing to ask when somebody relies on that money. Like it's such a difficult conversation because there is no perfect answer, but there's only one way to affect change. And gosh, you can look at things through a different lens, right? I hate to say it, hate to make the comparison, but look at civil rights movements, right? Look at women's suffrage. Look at these different things. I know it's a jump, but there's a comparison. Until these people stood up to make a humongous difference, nothing would have changed. That's a fact.
The biggest sports comparison I can think of is when the NFL players went on strike, I want to say in the 80s, where the replacement players, that was horrible product on the field. It was some of the shittiest games you've ever seen.
Well,
and
guys.
If the rodeo athletes decide to go on a strike at some point, that could be a turning point for this sport.
Okay, let's do this. It's business 101. I think you guys are freaking making me crazy. Business 101. All right, Chance, there's no big secret. Everybody's known through here. Know you well. You have a trailer company, correct? Correct? Okay, so if I were to buy a trailer 2 years ago, if I were to buy that same trailer today, Am I paying the same price for that trailer today as I would have 2 years ago?
No. 2
Why?
years ago.
Why?
Well, do you want the actual
I
answer?
want the freaking actual
inflation.
why.
That's the only reason.
Plus, your cost of goods have went up, right?
Cost of goods have
What is your labor?
quadrupled.
What is your labor freaking done?
Well, so the same guys that I would be paying to run a screw gun 2 years ago are now getting paid about $10 an hour
Okay, so
more.
we're going to use trailers as the example. The same with rodeo.
Yeah, everyone's going to know this because they either tried to buy a truck or a fucking trailer in the last year.
These guys are trying to freaking pay these rodeo athletes the same damn thing. Gas has went up, feed has went up. Everything has went up. You go try to buy a damn truck to pull your trailer down the road. What are you paying for a truck nowadays? So yet they're not increasing, the reward at the end. Ticket sales aren't changing. It is the most screwed up run business I've ever seen.
Because it's not a business.
Exactly. So when are the employees, the athletes, going to say
they're not the employees, they're the fucking product? It's a big difference.
So again,
when is that product going to change into being the employees?
Well, tell me this. Let's just say that you erased the top 15 last year from all the events and you replace them with 16 down, 16 through 31, right? 16 through 30, whatever it would be. It would be 16 through 30. Is it going to be the same thing? Yes. Are you going to be missing the biggest names in rodeo? Yes. Are you going to be missing the people whose pictures you stamped on those tickets? Yes.
Does the homeowner know who the average homeowner, the average, the people sitting in the airport, do they know who those top 15 are?
No. And they damn sure don't know who 16 through 30
again,
are.
That is what the problem is today, and that's what freaking the rodeo industry is doing.
But they could because they know.
They
could because we learned that with Yellowstone. They know who John Dutton is. They know who Casey Dutton is. They know. Give me some other names from Yellowstone. Beth Dutton, Rip, whoever.
Beth. I mean,
they know who these people are.
So
they could know.
I wonder. I wonder how many kids freaking on Halloween. Or husband and wives team on Halloween, went as Casey Field.
Who was the number one paid athlete on the Forbes list? I'm going to tell you right now. You don't even have to look. It was Conor McGregor, UFC fighter. Not 20 years ago, the UFC couldn't go into most major cities because it was too barbaric. They could not hold events in New York City, in the state of California, pretty much everywhere but Nevada and Florida and Texas, right? And that's probably a gross overstatement, but because it was so barbaric, it wasn't a sport. It was just it was a blood sport, right? It was too barbaric. Now it's in the top 5 biggest sports in the entire world, and the Forbes list is dominated by combat athletes.
Oh, well.
So if you think that can happen within the span of 20, 30 years, and a sport that's one of the oldest sports that's ever existed can't do anything in 100, poor management. There's one man who's responsible for the UFC success, and it's because he was a true businessman. That's Dana White. And we just don't have a Dana White running rodeo.
That's 100% right. And again, if you look at that, and I'm not a UFC fan, but I know that I've got a ton of buddies that I've done a pay-per-view and had UFC parties at my damn house because they wanted to see this fight. That is the opportunities we're missing in rodeo, is that we don't promote our athletes, we don't promote our stars, and if we did that, everything could be much bigger. The world would relate to our industry so much more if they had athletes they could cheer for, not just an event, and they don't care who the event.
Some people are going to disagree with all this because I think there's people who think they are promoting them, and that is happening, but it's not at the same level. And there's a whole bunch of elements that go into that kind of convolute it. But yeah, for the most part, no, they don't. And if they do, the athletes certainly aren't promoting themselves enough because they don't get anything. Like, you can talk to a lot of people and they're upset with certain organizations using their likeness all the time. You're constantly having your likeness used, and you're getting nothing for it. In fact, right. you're told where to go, when to go, and why to go. You're not told that you have any value from that.
Well,
you're not.
Educate me. What do you think? Give me an example of how you think they're being promoted.
By themselves or by someone else?
By somebody else.
They're not being promoted as an individual, but they're being used to promote a machine.
I agree, but again, people.
But even if they are being promoted, what for? You're being promoted to pay them. So you're being promoted by someone that you're paying to just say, okay, you can enter this for a chance to make money. So we're using your likeness. And by the way, we're promoting you, but don't you think they should be paid for that? That's how every other sport is.
Yeah,
you can't use Tiger Woods' likeness. You can't use Michael Jordan's likeness. You got to pay that son of a bitch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
why can you go? And it's because no one stood up, no one understands, and no one believes that their value is high enough. And I don't know that. This is all speculation. We're just sitting here drinking whiskey and talking shit.
Touche.
Maybe someone gets some value out of it. Maybe they don't. These are just our ideas. They could be completely wrong. We're going to piss somebody off. Maybe we won't. But this is just from observing.
We're going to piss people, and we're going to piss athletes off. And I will tell you this: yes, you can throw a rope better. You can ride a horse better than me. I'm not arguing. You are talented. You deserve to, all your successes. I'm just saying that, and we let's jump back to that. Success, guys, there are many people in this world that success is not measured on what your checkbook looks like. Let's call a spade a spade. Again, that goes back to that whole argument of, let's define success.
That's not the point of this conversation.
That's not. But I don't want any negative feedback of, listen, I've got buddies that I graduated high school, been married, 20 plus years, have 3 kids, and that in itself is successful. I love that. But again, I think it is frustrating for people like us to sit back and watch the opportunities that are being missed, and there's just so much growth and opportunity that could happen within this industry. And I get real passionate, pissed off when I see people getting taken advantage of. I hate it. So,
well, and do they really know if they're being taken advantage of? Do the people who are taking advantage of them really realize how much they are? Probably not, because it's just the way it's always been done. This is all this concept that we're talking about. We're talking about ideas, and there's somebody who thinks that we're the dumbest motherfuckers who ever put something out, and that's all right. That's okay with me.
I'm so okay with that.
But at the end of the day, we're able to sit back and look at things from a different perspective, because not a dime that's in my checking account, in my savings account, in my business account, or in any of my investments comes from Rodeo.
100%.
In fact,
I'm not making
opposite.
any money off of you. I assure you of that. So
that's right. Nor am I making money off of you.
Right.
But we've decided.
And I was meaning that about athletes too. I mean, we've sponsored. We've sponsored athletes and given them many. And it's not like we're making money off of that. So
no, which means, so why would we do it, right? Someone might say, well, you're doing it for the attention, or you're doing it to get into our world. Dude, I was in Calabasas not a month and a half ago, and trust me, that world looks a lot better than this one from the outside.
Touche.
You know what I mean? So from the outside in, the reason that we care about it is because we love the people, we love the culture. It's my family. It's now your family. And my favorite people do this for a living or are a part of it. And I want them to not end up like the past generations of people who have done this. The fact that you can dedicate your life to a craft that most people dabble in and suck at and be fantastic at it. The fact that you can go out there and you can run a 1311 in Thomas and Mack in this day and age, and then maybe that's not even going to cut it. Like, someone could come and every girl behind you might go break that record. You don't know on any given night. That's amazing. The fact that a kid can go and win the saddle bronc riding, and 3 events later goes in the bull riding and can win the bull riding. Find me someone tougher. You're not gonna. The fact that people can battle back from injuries and they can come and they can win world championships, that's amazing.
It is.
That their horses can die, they can get on another horse and they can go win the first round.
Yep.
That's just, but no one's telling those stories outside of our little circle.
And
because they don't care. No one on the outside of rodeo gives a shit about rodeo, but we can make them care.
Well, and I think that's why we're so passionate about what we're doing, is because we want those stories to get told. So again, how many people have come in here, Ty, you can tell Riley could do it, like, oh, well, since they've been on your show, now we're watching them. We want to see their success. I mean, we get that all the time. And that's what I would love. Hell, I'd love every rodeo athlete to come on here and tell their story. I think just like any business, and you're going to have a lot to say on this, and not just business, anything we do, I think we run into obstacles and or frustrations. And it's like, gosh, why the hell am I doing this? And I'll be the first to tell you, hell, this past year was a tough one for me. You know, why in the heck are we investing in rodeo or in this industry if it doesn't want to help itself? I can stay the hell home. I mean, I've got a couple of kids. I assure you, they dang sure the money I'm spending on sponsorship to athletes, you know, let me put it towards my kids' school. Let me put it towards, hell, Miss Cody always wanting another damn horse. We could take that and buy another damn horse. If I have to buy another damn horse this year, I'm going to go absolutely insane. But don't look at me like that. But again, we all go through frustrations in any business we do. And sometimes you just got to pull back the reins, say, all right, now let's remember why we're doing this. And reset, refocus, which is what we're doing. You know, you even taught me that. And see where it goes. And I'm excited about what 2022 will bring. So
just to wrap this up in a nice, neat bow in terms of what we talked about. As an outsider and hearing all these issues for the past almost 2 years now, a lot of the issues within rodeo comes back to the failures that it has towards their athletes. And just in terms of them not having the money to be able to sustain what they love to do, not getting the worth that they have had, and just not getting no money to put it towards them. Just from everything that I've heard from you guys, that's kind of been the root cause of the latest issues within rodeo. And I think this episode specifically has summed all that up.
Well, Fallon Taylor said something really amazing when she came on this podcast. She said, hey, I was going through all my old checks from back in the late 80s and early 90s. And I looked at a check I got from San Antonio when I was a little girl and a check I got from San Antonio, whatever she said, something to the effect of a check from 20-some years ago and today was the same.
That's horrible. Horrible. And again, that's my whole point. Do you think she was paying, you know, or her folks or whatever, you know, were they paying the same amount for gas to get to that rodeo as they are right now? Was feed it? Again, I don't want to keep being repetitive, but for the love of God, people, let's get some change going on, and let's start standing up together and make those changes happen. I mean, let's get a freaking leader, or let's vote it in. Let's just stand unified and get the freaking changes happening. So I don't know. I'm not trying to revolt, but for the love of God, if we want to see it continue, we need to, with open arms, you know, some of these people that are coming in and putting millions and millions into the industry, we need to let them come on right the hell in and see what happens. I assure you, those people aren't going to allow this to be sugar-coated around. They're going to get their business people in here. I'm dang sure they'll dang sure make things change, in my opinion.
It's exciting. So, I mean, this is all just opinion, right?
100%
you might
opinion.
do this for a living, and you might rodeo for a living and be like, fuck those two idiots. That's okay. Maybe we are. But the one thing that we have that some people don't is we have a lot of experience outside of this in growing things from scratch.
Absolutely.
In really short amount of times. And we're looking at something that's been going for decades on decades on decades that hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot. And some people like that. Like, it's about the culture. It's about that. Be like, well, sure it is, but it's also about being able to feed your family and have a life off of it.
Well, I mean, tell me the great changes to rodeo that's happened over the past 5 years, over the past 10 years. Tell me how rodeo is any different today as it was 10 years ago. I mean, there's going to be a few little things.
Televised, all of them. That's
televised.
one thing.
Well, it's switched. Yeah, that's huge. You know, do you know how bad athletes bitched because it was going to go from, you know, CBS Sports to the Cowboy Channel? Do you know how much bitching I heard personally about that? I mean, it was such a huge problem, and now they're like, oh, well, that's not so bad. I mean, we're on TV every rodeo we're at. So, I mean, they're making steps in the right direction. But again, that has to do with a totally different organization and corporation that's bringing those rodeos to light. Doesn't have anything to do within the quote unquote membership. Truth. I don't know that. But again, I would just like to see the athletes. And again, that's part of the problem with any bit of business. If you're not unified, there'll just be some other jackass that come in behind you and do what, you're not willing to do. So you're right. I'm good with, there's going to be a ton of feedback and negativity. Listen, I'm not questioning anybody's talent. I think they're all extremely talented. I'm questioning the methods in which that talent gets exposed and the way that you're rewarded for that talent. So,
yeah, which basically, in a nutshell, for the layman, if you don't understand everything that was just said, that means that we should support the rodeo athletes above everyone else. I think that's the overall purpose of this, and it got super passionate, but we just came out of a real tough year. We did. With a lot of disappointments, a lot of victories, but a lot of disappointments on this side. And not the Gage side, but the other side. A lot of disappointing things that you see. And when you're so close to people who do this for a living, or you tried to do it yourself as a living and failed at it, and you see people succeeding, but you could see how quickly the tides could turn on them. Mm-hmm. Does it make sense to people who maybe didn't like what was said, why someone might feel that way? I'm assuming it would if you looked at it through that lens. So anyway.
Well, like I said, we don't need to keep talking and talking. I say we focus on 2022, keep getting bigger guests in here, keep getting stories to be told, and I think that's going to naturally take care of this. So that's what excites me about this. And I think that we're doing our part of getting the stories out there so the Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner can become fans of Intuit. Anybody, I will tell you this, Riley does such a good job of reaching out to people. Anybody that would deny not wanting to come on here and tell your story, I think damn foolish, because this is your opportunity to, let millions and millions of people hear who you are and become a fan of you. So I don't know. Riley, I think when you reach out to people, I'd be curious of the ones that say, no, that's not something we want to do, because I think that speaks volumes in itself as well. I don't know if that's arrogance talking or just disappointment in the industry again.
Hard saying. I mean, there's probably an element of it that people may not want to come on here because of the stuff we say.
Touche. But the one good thing about us is we're eclectic. I've seen you interview and talk to a lot of different personalities, and you sure do a good job of adapting to that personality. So I don't think you can ever judge one episode and think that's how that every episode is going to be. I mean, I've seen you talk to men holding the word in their hand, and I've seen you talk to men that, you think you picked up at a truck stop. So who knows? So
I think I know who you're talking about and did get him at a truck stop.
I believe it. So,
well, cool.
We can wrap it up, Ty. So
don't look at me. He can give you instructions too.
Well, I'm going to relay that instruction to you then.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I mean,
you're the host.
I really fell down on the totem pole if I'm the one getting third-party instructions.
No.
And getting them from me, too.
Fuck, you know what? Burn the place down. This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy, Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers, Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content produced by Riley Chone. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you guys next time.